Perhaps one of Japan's most notable artwork is none other than Hokusai's Under the Great Wave of Kanagawa. As a part of a woodcut series named 36 Views of Mount Fuji, this piece particularly stood out due to its multi-faceted connotations that is weaved in by its historical and personal context. However, such pedestal and recognition is given by many Euro-Americans instead of the country of its origin when we consider that the artwork you're looking at here is merely ukiyo-e, a woodcut genre mass-produced for popular consumption. Translated as Pictures of the Floating World, artists use ukiyo-e to record the high points of Japanese culture with usual themes such as Kabuki actors, courtesans, geishas, and nature. As quote from Okakura Kakuzo in the 1900s, the history of Japanese art cannot be written through ukiyo-e. Of course, anyone would question the print's authenticity and place as Japan's representative artwork due to its association with popular culture instead of elitist art. So, why should Under the Wave of Kanagawa and the rest of the series be given any significance? By following the traditional Japanese orthographic system, we should customarily read the artwork using a right-to-left direction. But when our eyes follow the arching wave and its anthropomorphic claws, we are forced to use a left-to-right direction as the wave freezes before a crash, not only creating a sensorial impact but also imitating woodblock prints that feature poses of a Kabuki actor at the high point of a Kabuki play. Although the left-to-right reading direction would be unusual for the Japanese during the Tokugawa period, the inclusion of this reading direction depicts Hokusai's influence from Western art. Since 17th century, the Dutch has been trading with Japan. Therefore, the exposure of Dutch art allowed Hokusai to synthesize both right-to-left and left-to-right directions because he intended to include the foreigner's view of Mount Fuji into the 36 views of Mount Fuji. The foreigner's view of Mount Fuji is further illustrated through a linear perspective which Hokusai adopted from Dutch artwork into many of his woodcut prints in order to enhance Japan's landscape. This vantage point of looking inwards towards Japan, as if the viewers are subjected as an incoming foreign ship, would be an unusual perspective for the Japanese during the Tokugawa period because as a deeply rooted subject in Japanese thinking, the encircling waves of Japan are thought to have a divine agency as well as a form of shelter from foreign invasions. As such, the colossal wave that shields Mount Fuji in this artwork renders the mountain unfamiliar and foreign. By subjecting the local viewers from a foreigner's perspective, Hokusai created a new world for the local viewers and extended their fictive space. The inclusion of a foreigner's view into the 36 views of Mount Fuji then reveals Hokusai's awareness towards Japan's shifting geopolitical circumstances during that period. Japan's ports by the 18th century were demanded by Russian, British, and American vessels to access as conduits for trade. The feudal lord of Mito, Tokugawa Harumori, best describes this situation in a written verse. As such, this particular piece seems to oscillate between the fruitful and dangerous outcomes of foreign contact, similar to the swift boats here. However, the thematic fear of foreign invasion is only of secondary importance. If we were to notice the curvature of the wave, it is actually framing a visual vortex of Mount Fuji, rendering Mount Fuji as the primary focus of this artwork instead. By viewing Under the Wave of Kanagawa with the rest of the series in entirety, the unchanging image of Mount Fuji in every woodcut seems to confer a sense of timelessness. The etymology of Fuji, meaning not death, has made Mount Fuji a national representation of Japan and a symbol of immortality. As such, Fuji's etymology motivated Hokusai to create a woodcut series that preserves the everyday life of both Japanese people and foreigners during his time. By showing 36 viewpoints of Mount Fuji as a collective series, this agglomeration is timeless. The number 36 was not by random means. Hokusai chose 36 to associate with the iconic 36 immortals of Japanese classical poetry. From the devotion of this series shown by Hokusai, it could reflect his personal desire for longevity. Although there are no direct evidence to point out this particular desire, one of his quotes reveals his fascination towards longevity and immortality. I've drawn things since 6. All that I made before the age of 65 is not worth counting. At 73, I began to understand the true construction of animals, plants, trees, birds, fishes, and insects. At 90, I will enter into the secret of things. At 100, I shall certainly have reached a magnificent level. And when I am 110, everything, every dot, every dash will live. If we view Under the Wave of Kanagawa alone, it is amazing how, although Hokusai does not voice a finality on his perspective towards foreign invasion, he is aware of the increasing foreign influence which has impacted Japan. But to view the series as an entirety, Hokusai has presented an empirical collectivity through the immortal mountain, allowing a shared experience of this majestic peak. Although Hokusai did not reach the age of 110, he left a significant influence on other artists that are both foreign and local. No wonder every dot, every dash of the 36 views of Mount Fuji has lived past 110.